Every morning is a new beginning, a blank slate that holds the power to shape the trajectory of your entire day and ultimately your life. The first hour after you wake up is the most powerful hour of your day. It is the moment your brain transitions from rest to action, from potential to performance. If you master your morning, you begin to master your mindset, your energy, and your purpose. And when you do this consistently, it rewires your brain for focus, discipline, and long-term success. Most people drift into their day. They reach for their phone, get hit with notifications, news, distractions, before their own thoughts even have a chance to take root. They react instead of create. But the highest performers, the most resilient minds, the strongest leaders, they don't stumble into their mornings, they command them, because how you begin determines how you show up. And if you show up with clarity, control, and intention, there's nothing you can't handle. The morning is the most neuroplastic part of your day. Your brain is highly responsive to habit formation in those early hours. When you expose your body to sunlight, hydrate, get movement in, and direct your attention intentionally, your brain adapts. You build mental strength. You train your nervous system to respond instead of react. You wire in discipline as your default. This isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about taking control of the very first moments that define your direction. Success doesn't happen by chance, it happens by design, and that design starts with how you wake up, how you breathe, how you move, and how you think, before the world has a chance to influence you. Your morning routine is your anchor. When chaos hits later in the day, you're grounded. When doubt creeps in, you're steady. When fatigue comes, your system is already primed. This is the quiet work that no one sees, but everyone feels in the results you deliver. The people who build greatness in their lives don't wait for motivation. They don't hope they'll have a good day. They build their mornings to guarantee it. And that's the power of a morning routine. It's not just about productivity. It's about identity. It's about proving to yourself that you're someone who leads from within, someone who's intentional, focused, and relentless. Your future is shaped by what you do daily. And that starts not someday, not next week, but tomorrow morning. Show up for it like your life depends on it, because it does. How you start your morning determines how you engage with everything that follows. That first hour after you wake up is not just another part of the day. It's the foundation. It sets the emotional, psychological, and neurological tone for your decisions, focus, and energy. When you begin the morning without intention, without a plan, without control, you're more likely to be reactive, anxious, and unproductive throughout the rest of the day. But when you take ownership of those first moments, you begin to train your mind for leadership, for clarity, and for strength. Your mindset isn't just something you turn on when you need it. It's something you build moment by moment, and it starts the moment you open your eyes. If you grab your phone immediately, you surrender your mental space to noise, messages, news, distractions that hijack your attention before you even think your first thought. But if instead you sit up, breathe deeply, take a moment to center yourself, and move with purpose, you're telling your brain, I am in charge. I decide what matters. I decide what comes next. Your brain craves rhythm, certainty, and intention. When you give it a consistent signal each morning that says, this is who I am, and this is how I start my day, it responds with sharpened focus, emotional regulation, and increased cognitive performance. You are not just waking up, you are building yourself. You're laying the bricks of a mindset that says, I'm here to lead, I'm here to grow, I'm here to rise. Over time, this becomes your baseline. Calm becomes your standard, focus becomes your instinct, confidence becomes your natural state, but it all traces back to how you begin. You don't need a complicated process. You need presence, you need intention. Maybe it's 5 minutes of stillness, a short walk in the morning light, a breath practice, or writing down one powerful thought to carry into your day. What matters most is that you own that moment before the world demands anything from you. Your morning is your space to reclaim power, not just to be productive, but to be grounded, clear, and ready. Every great achievement begins with a focused mind, every breakthrough starts with a clear decision, and every empowered day begins with a powerful morning. The quality of your mindset is built in that quiet hour when most people are still on autopilot. That's where your advantage is made. That's where your strength is born. In the early hours of the day, your brain is in its most impressionable and adaptable state. This is due to a powerful biological phenomenon called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize and rewire itself based on experience and focused effort. Right after you wake up, your brain is more chemically primed to absorb information, shape habits, and solidify new patterns of thought and behavior. What you choose to do in that state either accelerates your growth or reinforces old cycles of distraction. This period is often overlooked, but it holds immense power. The heightened levels of dopamine, cortisol, and acetylcholine in the early morning are not just random. They create the ideal internal environment for change. When these neurochemicals are active, your ability to learn, retain, and act with purpose is dramatically enhanced. That means the habits you practice in the morning aren't just routines. They are shaping your brain's structure, its efficiency, and ultimately, its potential. Imagine waking up and immediately exposing yourself to sunlight, moving your body, and mentally engaging in a focused task, be it journaling, planning, reading, or a short breathwork session. These aren't just tasks that improve your day. They are neurological investments that strengthen focus circuits in your brain. They activate your prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for planning, decision-making, and impulse control. Over time, this leads to better emotional regulation, faster learning, and a stronger sense of self-direction. On the flip side, if you begin your day with mindless scrolling or consumption of chaotic media, you're reinforcing neural pathways of distraction and anxiety. Your brain becomes wired to seek stimulation rather than clarity. It's like training your focus muscles to get weaker instead of stronger. That's why what you do each morning doesn't just affect your day, it rewires your brain for the kind of person you are becoming. The key is intentional repetition. The brain doesn't change from doing something once. It changes when it experiences something repeatedly in a consistent, emotionally engaged way. That's what a purposeful morning routine offers. Daily repetition with clear intention during a time of peak neuroplasticity. It's not about how long your routine is, it's about how deliberate and focused you are in those critical moments. The power to reshape your thoughts, behaviors, and outcomes lies in the early hours. Use that window to train your brain, not just for the day ahead, but for the person you are choosing to become. This is where transformation begins, from the inside out, through the consistent rewiring of your most powerful tool, your mind. Most people wake up and instantly fall into the trap of reactivity. They grab their phone, check messages, scroll through social media, or dive into emails before they've even connected with themselves. What this does is simple, yet incredibly destructive. It gives away the most powerful and focused part of your day to external noise. The mind, still fresh and impressionable, is hijacked before it has a chance to be directed. When you begin your day reacting, you train your brain to seek distraction, to follow chaos, to surrender control. Over time, you lose your edge, not because you're not capable, but because you're constantly responding to things that don't move your life forward. The most successful and centered individuals don't begin their day by responding to the world. They begin by building it. They don't wait for inspiration, they create it. Instead of reacting, they step into a space of creation. That means taking time in the morning to focus on something that aligns with purpose, whether it's visualizing goals, journaling, setting intentions, practicing gratitude, or simply sitting in silence to connect with clarity. When you create instead of react, you build mental momentum. You direct your energy instead of having it drained. You're telling your brain, this is what matters and this is how we show up today. This shift from reactivity to creativity rewires the brain. It strengthens neural circuits related to focus, goal setting, and emotional regulation. It reduces cortisol levels that are often spiked by the stress of instant stimulation. And most importantly, it builds a foundation of self-leadership. When you create space in the morning to act with intention, even for just a few minutes, you train yourself to take ownership of the day instead of chasing it. What you do in those first 30 to 60 minutes sets a precedent. If you start in chaos, you invite chaos. If you start in purpose, you carry purpose. And this isn't about perfection, it's about presence. You may still have obligations and responsibilities to respond to, but when you anchor yourself first in creation, those responses come from strength, not survival. You handle stress better, make decisions more clearly, and stay connected to what really matters. Every morning you are faced with a choice. Will you consume or will you create? Will you be pulled or will you lead? The people who transform their lives are the ones who choose to lead themselves first, starting with the way they start their day. That's the true power of shifting from reactivity to intentional creation. There is a powerful link between how we treat our body in the morning and how our mind performs throughout the day. The human brain and body thrive on rhythm and input, and the first signals you give yourself after waking determine how your internal systems function. 3 foundational elements that rewire your brain and reset your biology for clarity and energy are simple: sunlight, hydration, and movement. Though they may seem basic, they are rooted in deep neuroscience and physiology, and they carry transformative power when practiced consistently. The first and perhaps most underestimated is sunlight. When you expose your eyes to natural light within 30 to 60 minutes of waking, you trigger a cascade of signals in the brain that regulate your circadian rhythm, boost mood through dopamine and serotonin release, and increase alertness. It literally tells your brain the day has begun. This sets your internal clock, balancing sleep-wake cycles and even improving sleep quality at night. Without this signal, your brain operates in a foggy, unfocused state and your energy dips later in the day. Then comes hydration. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your body is naturally dehydrated. That means your brain, composed of nearly 75% water, is functioning under capacity the moment you rise if you don't replenish it. Drinking a large glass of water first thing flushes toxins, jumpstarts cellular activity, and brings your body back to balance. Even mild dehydration can affect cognitive function, mood, and energy, so this simple act is a powerful cognitive enhancer. It primes your system for movement, thinking, and emotional control. And finally, movement. It doesn't have to be a full workout. Just a few minutes of stretching, walking, or light mobility work sends a signal from your body to your brain that it's time to activate. Movement increases blood flow, raises body temperature, and begins the release of endorphins and dopamine, neurochemicals that boost motivation, focus, and positivity. This is not just physical activation, it is mental optimization. When you move, your brain lights up, your clarity improves, your mood stabilizes. These 3 actions, sunlight, hydration, and movement, are not extras. They are essential. They align your biology with your goals. They energize your body to support your mind. And most importantly, they build a morning routine that's rooted in science, not guesswork. When you practice them daily, you create a feedback loop of clarity, focus, and strength that lasts throughout the day. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about building the right signals into your morning so your brain and body know how to win. One of the most powerful habits you can build into your morning routine is intentional breath work. This simple yet profound practice has the ability to shift your state from chaos to clarity, from tension to calm, and from distraction to focus. Most people go through their entire day without once becoming aware of their breath, even though it is the only system in the body that operates both automatically and under conscious control. That makes it a bridge between the mind and body, between stress and stability, between reaction and intention. When you take control of your breath in the morning, you begin to take control of your nervous system. One of the most effective ways to do this is by using controlled, deep breathing techniques that activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for rest, recovery, and balance. Just a few minutes of slow, rhythmic breathing in the early hours can lower cortisol levels, reduce anxiety, and improve your ability to focus. It's like tuning your internal instrument before the concert of the day begins. Intentional breath work also increases oxygen delivery to the brain, which enhances cognitive function. It supports better memory, learning, and decision making. It quiets the mental noise that often clouds judgment in the first hours after waking. And most importantly, it centers you. Instead of starting your day feeling rushed, overwhelmed, or reactive, you begin with presence. You anchor yourself in the now. You become the calm in the storm. There are many forms of breath work: box breathing, physiological sighs, alternate nostril breathing, and more. You don't need a complicated routine, even something as simple as inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, exhaling for 4 seconds, and repeating that cycle for 2 to 5 minutes can make a dramatic difference. What matters is the intention behind it, the conscious decision to center your nervous system before you step into the demands of the day. Breath is life, it's energy, it's focus, and when you train yourself to use it, especially in the morning, you begin to unlock the power of internal control. You stop waiting for peace and start creating it. You stop reacting to stress and start guiding your system to stay steady. Over time, this habit becomes your foundation. When others are overwhelmed, you remain grounded. When challenges arise, you meet them with clarity, all because you learn to harness the one tool that's been with you all along, your breath. The quality of your inner world dictates the quality of your outer reality, and one of the most effective ways to shape your internal state is through morning mental programming. Every single day, your thoughts begin forming the moment you wake up. If you're not directing them, they'll default to old fears, worries, doubts, and distractions. That's why starting your morning with intentional mental input is not just helpful, it's transformational. You are literally shaping your identity and future through the words and beliefs you allow into your mind. Mental programming involves feeding your brain with powerful, positive, and focused ideas that align with who you want to become. Whether through affirmations, visualization, prayer, or declarations, the key is repetition with emotion. You don't just say the words, you feel them. You don't just imagine success, you embody it in your mind as if it's already real. When done daily, this carves new neural pathways in the brain. These pathways influence your habits, decisions, and reactions, helping you naturally move in the direction of growth and purpose. Imagine starting your day saying, I am focused, I am strong, I am disciplined, I do not negotiate with excuses, I follow through, I am becoming everything I was created to be. These words may seem simple, but when repeated consistently, they rewire your brain. Your subconscious begins to accept them as truth. You begin acting in alignment with them, and they slowly override the doubt, fear, and self-sabotage that may have controlled your thoughts for years. Visualization is equally powerful. When you visualize your goals in the morning with clarity and emotion, your brain can't distinguish between what's imagined and what's real. This creates a feeling of momentum and familiarity with success. The more you see it, the more your brain works to find the path to make it real. This builds confidence from the inside out. The morning is your mental soil. If you plant seeds of negativity, fear, or distraction, that's what will grow. But if you plant seeds of power, clarity, and confidence, those become the thoughts that shape your identity. You're not just thinking, you're programming. You're not just hoping, you're wiring. The repetition of empowered thoughts builds a brain that's prepared to win no matter what the day brings. This is how high performers rise. They don't wait to feel motivated. They create it every morning, thought by thought, word by word, until their mind becomes their greatest ally. Your mornings are the foundation of your life. The way you begin each day is not just a routine, it's a declaration of who you are becoming. These 6 small but powerful habits: waking with intention, embracing silence, eliminating reactivity, energizing your body, mastering your breath, and programming your mind, are not random tips. They are tools. Tools to rewire your brain, realign your focus, and reclaim your power. Success does not start with luck, talent, or chance. It starts with discipline, clarity, and consistency, built one decision at a time every single morning. When you commit to these habits for 21 days, you're doing more than changing your schedule. You're reconditioning your brain to operate from purpose instead of pressure, from action instead of reaction, from leadership instead of fear. Every day becomes a new opportunity not to be pulled by the noise of the world, but to move forward from a place of strength and clarity. You begin to notice that your energy lasts longer, your focus becomes sharper, and your emotional resilience deepens. You no longer wake up overwhelmed, you wake up in control. This isn't about perfection, it's about momentum. The small steps you take every morning become the silent architects of massive transformation. And as you begin to experience the shift, you'll realize something powerful. Greatness was never out there, it was always within you. It just needed the right structure, the right system, and the right commitment to be unlocked. Change your mornings and you will change your life. Not someday, not eventually, but now. One sunrise, one habit, one powerful decision at a time.